Hello, Surge here from the backyard driving range. I recently, on a trip to Hilton Head, ended up getting down there, and a young man from Finland was in a golf shop at Old South, and he had asked if I was around for a golf lesson. Ironically, I walked in, and so I had time, and we went and gave him a lesson. His name was Sammy, and he was about 6'3", a lefty, and was about a 4 handicap. But he was having a lot of problems with inconsistency in his ball striking. He was hitting some toe chubbies and some thin heels and a lot of thin shots, and he was hitting a lot of those, as well as good shots left and right of his target. So we went out to the range, and he started off in my questioning him about his game and how much he practices and everything else. Being from Finland, they don't get to play too much. I mean, he said maybe about 4 months at most, and unfortunately, fortunately for him, he gets to go to do some traveling. He's a pilot, and he can take his clubs down there when he gets to warmer climates during the winter and play a little bit of golf. But for the most part, he said it was about 4 good months to play golf there. So he's been on the site for a long time, looks at the dailies every day, and boy, he had the terminology down well, and he had the swing, the setup, and the swing down pretty good, except for 2 points in the setup. First one was he was sitting back way on his heels. He had his heels way too under him. So like the thing I taught him was, if you take the golf club and kind of stick it right in the center of your hip, like where your pocket is, and hang it straight down, that should be about where your ankles are. So that way your weight will be in your arches. He was on his heels. Now, he was making a pretty darn good vertical golf swing, and I mean, when he even on his heels, when he hit it solid, it was dead solid, perfect. I mean, he had such good, solid, crushed impacts that when he hit it, just hit the ball like a bullet out there with great trajectory and held the line. But again, it was a good chance it was a block or a push, and then the straights. So the setup was on his heels. Now, naturally, if you're standing a little bit on your heels, it's a little difficult to swing the club up. But he had figured it out. But that was causing him a little bit of balance issues in the finish. But so he would sneak enough good shots in there to have not realized that it was that. The other big issue is what? The big A. I mean, he was a threat to aim it a mile to the left, which for him would have been slices and pushes, because he's a lefty, and then the next shot come back and get way to the right. And so I really got him into paying attention to that if he hit a shot, and whether solid and straight or whatever, or a thin miss or whatever, that if it didn't start where he wanted it to and finish near where he wanted to roll himself back, put the club down by his toes, and come back here and check it. Because you have to rule out the only exception to secret number 5 is, when I hit a bad shot, the answer is who cares, is if you've made a decent swing and had a controlled finish, where you're a balanced finish, you could roll yourself back, put the club down by your toes, and stand back here. You can just look at the shaft. If the shaft is pointing at the target, you know you're got bad alignment. And if it's way too far one side or the other, on top of it, I always like to come over and stand where the ball is and raise my hand up like that, parallel to the shaft, and look. And in many cases, if you hit a good shot to a wrong place and you do that, poof, that's right where the ball went. And so you know it was your alignment. Because the worst thing in the world, the absolute worst thing you can do as a golfer to yourself, is to hit good shots, have a good setup, make good swings, hit good shots to a wrong place, and blame the swing. Like, for example, if you're a right-handed golfer and you hit one which would be right into a right bunker, or if you're on the range, which wherever your target is would be the equivalent of hitting right into the right bunker with a good, and you felt like the setup was good, the swing was good, the ball strike was excellent, the trajectory, the flight pattern was good, and you're in the right bunker. What do most golfers say? When I'm giving a golf lesson, and I stand behind golfers and I've given them a target, every golfer gets a target, and they hit a shot like that, when I'm behind them and I've asked them, and I just say, well, what'd you think of that shot? And after a couple seconds, when their brain evaluates everything, and they hit a dead solid perfect or a pretty good shot, pretty darn straight, right into what would be a right bunker for the target I gave it to them, they always say, I pushed it or I blocked it. Not once has anybody ever said, I guess it was my alignment. I knew I was aimed there. Well, who's going to know they're aimed there and still swing, make a good swing and hit it there, right? So they always blame the swing, a push or a block. Or vice versa if they pulled it. They hit a pull, and it wasn't a pull, it was dead straight, right to where they were aimed. So the point is, if you blame the swing, you have just dismissed as a really good setup and a really good swing, and dismissed it as a bad setup and a bad swing, or at least a bad swing. So now you've just made a bad swing and basically thrown it in the trash can. So what are you going to do the next time? You're going to make an adjustment to that swing, when in fact it wasn't a swing issue, it was just a setup issue of alignment was off. And so now if you do that enough, you reach a point where your brain doesn't know what really a good swing is. Because one time a good swing that feels good hits the ball where it's supposed to, and the next time that same feeling swing doesn't hit it good to another place, and you blame it as the swing when it was all in the alignment. So alignment is critical. So I mean, I really brought this home with Sammy, because he was basically, you know, back and forth, and so we really worked out alignment. Told him he needs to get some type of alignment 8 to stick to put on the ground when he's hitting, to learn practice walking into the ball. But with that, and together with getting into good posture, and it's very easy to get your feet under yourself a little bit. If anybody can ever stand here and you can tap the balls of your feet, you know your weight is back too far. If you can get into a posture and you can tap the heels of your feet, your weight's too far forward. You're supposed to be dead into the arches of your feet right here, and so just like right straight down, and you got equal pressure on the back of the ball pad and the front of the heel pad. In the arches is where you need to be. Just like as if you were a tennis player waiting for a serve. You're in the field like this, playing shortstop or any outfield position. You don't see anybody tapping their toes. And so the key is good posture in the arches, and if you're hitting a lot of good shots and hitting them thins and then chubbies and everything else, start looking at your weight distribution. That is, where is it on your feet, and it needs to be in the arches. And again, let us not ever forget alignment. All right. Well, that's it for how we straightened out Sammy, and how it'll help you. You get your better posture and better alignment will help you start hitting it more solid, straight, consistently, and shooting those low scores. That's it for the Surge for today, and I'll be talking to y'all again soon.